What is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we are doing a brand new episode of the United Mexican States. Today is going to be a very big episode because we are going to be forming our own organization today. Before we get started here, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes of Mexico whenever it does come out. I also have a new elections tutorial coming out very soon, so do look forward to that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and go over here, check on my currency, on my inflation rate real quick. 5.2%. We had an interest rate of 10%. I think we're going to go ahead and increase our interest rate to 12%. And we're going to go over here. We're going to check to see what we are subsidizing. Aluminum is doing okay right now. Bottled water, let's go ahead and fund some water here, especially in the Chiapas region. Apparently we have some really screwy situations whenever it comes to water production, so we need to go ahead and start increasing our supply of water. Instead of 300 million, let's go ahead and do $500 million. And I could actually also consider nationalizing this sector, but it will be a very hefty cost in order to do that. About $2.7 billion if I wanted a partial nationalization. But what I could actually do is that we could consider a price reduction in bottled water. What we could do is that we are going to reduce the price of bottled water by 10%. Let's go ahead and decrease this down to $1.05 million. And we're going to actually do $1 million. And so we'll go ahead and do that. That will cost the state $189 million here. We have a 92% chance of that passing, so we're going to go ahead and leave it to it. Industry did not like that, but the low price policy, people really liked it. But a little bit of a public finance issue, but I think we are able to afford it. Shouldn't have any financial issues so far. What we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go over to new organizations. We're going to create an organization. We're going to go to a monetary union. A monetary union groups together countries using the same currency in order to develop trade and economic activity. The rate for the common currency is fixed relative to the founding country's currency, and regular meetings between heads of state are held to decide on the interest rate charged by the member country's banks. We'll have an annual maximum deficit of about, we're going to do 7%, since we are kind of dealing with countries that do have financial issues, and we can try our best to kind of help them out here. I think what we are going to try to look at real quick, we're going to compare ourselves and we're going to see what their maximum deficit is. Guatemala has 3%. We're going to do a max of 6%. That'll be our max here. Actually, we'll do like 5.5% just to kind of have a little bit of leeway. Belize will probably not be able to do it unless we financially help them out, but we're going to go ahead and get to it. Again, we're going to go over to monetary union. Regular meetings between heads of state are held to decide on the interest rate charged by the member country's banks. We're going to go ahead and call this the Central American Economic Union. So that will be the Central American Economic Union, or the CAEU. What we could actually abbreviate this to, instead of saying the CAEU, we could just say CAIU. So couple of references for you guys. Let's go ahead and pick a organization headquarters, and we're gonna go ahead and do this in, what do you do? I'm doing between Puebla and Mexico. Mexico will obviously be the capital, which is Mexico City. Could we do, Puebla is a pretty good city, pretty beautiful city. And I think it'll help us out if we just do it in Puebla. That way we're not congesting traffic in Mexico City with summit meetings. We're going to go ahead and charge our member states. We're going to charge them 0.25% of the state budget. And then frequency of the summits will be quarterly. and name of the currency will be the peso, and then the abbreviated name of the currency will be peso. So pretty simplistic name, since I believe a lot of these guys in Central America do use the peso. So just to kind of have our own united currency and start to bring these guys into our arms in order to just kind of get things going, essentially. So we're going to have the regional area. This will encompass Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. And I think what we could also do is we are going to ask that Cuba be considered a member. So we're going to do Cuba. We're going to do Haiti, the Dominican Republic, we're going to do Cuba and the Dominican Republic. So the Dominican Republic, Republica Dominica, will be the other one that we will consider. We're not going to dip into South America. So this will be our region. Maximum annual deficit will be 6%. All right. And so it's asking for a abbreviated name for the currency. So for example, like it's kind of like the ISO code. The ISO code would be like MEX, USD, RUB, etc., etc., etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to say Central American Peso. So we're going to call it CAP. And so it's asking for a abbreviated name of the currency. We're going to go ahead and call it the CAP. The CAP will be the Central American Peso. So we will go ahead and lock that in. So again, we have a monetary union, the Central American Economic Union, otherwise known as CAIU. The organization headquarters will be in Puebla. The term of the Secretary General will be 2 years. We are funding it with an annual rate of $13.1 billion, which will amount to 2% of our state's budget. The annual members' dues will be 0.25%. We will actually go ahead and just charge them 0.2%. And this will encompass all of our region, also including Cuba and the Dominican Republic. And then our maximum annual deficit will be 6%. The membership vote will be unanimous. Actually, I'd actually do 2/3. I think we'll do 2/3. That way we can actually make agreements. The frequency of the summits will be quarterly, so that way we can meet in case of a economic crisis. It probably, in case of that, I mean, because of how unstable our interest rates are and our economy, we could actually do a monthly thing. I think I'll do monthly. That way, actually no, because every episode of this is going to be quarterly, we're going to do quarterly. So we'll go ahead and create the CAU, the CAIU. Now we're going to name a Secretary General. Let's go ahead and put a party member in there, and we will go ahead and name the first Secretary General of CAIU as Martina Fita. And the country's currency has changed. Would you like all currency values to be displayed with the new currency? 1 peso equals CAP. 1 CAP, which equals 5 cents on the dollar. So I think to make things a little more interesting, we're going to go ahead and start using the CAP. So we're going to say yes. And then so we have 13 trillion CAP along with 12 trillion CAP. And you guys are going to have to do the math here. So we're going to go in a little blind until we start to get used to things here. Central American Economic Union Secretary General takes office. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so we will go ahead and go forward and we'll see what happens, see if we have any new members. All right, and we are back at the end of the month. We have a big announcement here, big announcement. Let's go ahead and clear through these. We don't want to meet with Mozambique yet. Guatemala has applied for the CAIU, and Guatemalan envoys have placed a membership request for their organization. As a member state, you are invited to pronounce yourself. Madam President, do you accept this entry to CAIU's heart? We will accept Guatemala's entrance into the CAIU. And Panama has also applied to become a member of the CAIU. So we already have 2 brand new members that have joined the CAIU, and they will now be using our common currency. So this is already a very successful economic union right here. And we have now created the Central American European Union, the Central American version of the European Union. This is a massive accomplishment for the administration of Claudia Sheinbaum. I am very, very proud to say that we are doing strides now in terms of foreign policy. The Central American Economic Union now has 3 members, total population of 154 million people, total GDP of 33.7 trillion cap, which amounts to whatever that is divided by 5 cents. And we're gonna have to get a little bit used to our math whenever it comes to that. I think it's going to be similar to how it works with the yen. So like with the yen, in order to kind of convert it into dollars, you basically take away 2 numbers and then you get around roughly what that would be in dollars. So I think it's going to work similar to that, because the exchange rate in US dollars is essentially about the same, except it's a little bit lower. So yeah, so I think I'm going to be using this in terms of exactly how I would be whenever I'm using Japan's currency, because whenever I do play Japan, I am familiar enough with their currency and their economic system in which I can roughly tell what kind of numbers I'm working with. So I think we're going to be able to do this pretty efficiently. So I'm going to basically treat this exactly how I would be whenever I'm playing as Japan. So the exchange rate of 1 cap is 5 cents on the dollar. So it's actually on its way down. So I think this will actually be pretty easy. So this essentially will just be kind of like a Japanese economic gameplay. Let's go ahead and go over to taxation, see what we need to do right here. 1% on our GDP. 13.1 trillion cap pesos. We'll just call it pesos. So we're gonna have to start getting used to that. If you hear me say dollars, I'm trying to say pesos. So very interesting, very interesting. Let's look. 1.4 trillion cap is available in the Treasury Reserve as of right now. So if we take away 2 numbers from that, that'll be about, I think, $14 billion. So this will be about $7 billion. I think that should be able to be around what we're thinking about. Net immigration rate, what is going on here? Our immigration rate just tanked. Okay. Kind of a bad thing in my eyes. Kind of, we don't want that to happen. Well, I mean, it kind of is in line with our amnesty, basically. Yeah, I think that might have been what it was. But we'll go ahead and move on. Increase of 0.1%. 131 million people live in Mexico and Guatemala. We could actually come for you sometime soon. So I think that's how I might end the series here, is that we will annex Guatemala. Guatemala will become a new state of the United Mexican States.
It's all
because I believe if I actually come over here, you can go over to purchase a foreign territory. No. Offer the annexation of a sovereign territory, Guatemala. So Guatemala is usually up for grabs, literally for like any country that wants to grab it. So we could consider that. What else is available? We could go for Haiti. We could go for Palestine. We could go for Guatemala, Sri Lanka, the Gambia, and Uruguay. So lots and lots of opportunities here, don't we? All right, let's go over here. Construction. So I definitely know how much this was. We have 294. So that's about $2.9 billion, $13 billion. Yeah, this is exactly like playing. This is going to be exactly like playing Japan. So I know exactly what kind of numbers we're dealing with. So we're about $9 billion spending in our ministry for energy. So yeah, this will be very, very easy to deal with. So it's not as intimidating as I thought it was going to be. We have massive protests right now in the United States. We'll check the newspaper on Monday to try to see what's going on. But we do have 2 new applications for the Caillou organization. So Belize has offered itself into being a part of the organization? Have they reduced their national deficit? They seemingly have, but I believe that they still might be ineligible. So we'll go ahead and accept them into the CAIU, into the CAEU. Costa Rica has also offered to be a part of the CAEU. So we have Guatemala, we have Belize, we have Costa Rica, and we have Panama. So now we just need Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador, as well as Cuba and the Dominican Republic. So we are moving on up in terms of getting our organization underway. So I really, really like how much we have already done in this episode. Really, really, really interesting. I wish I had a little map here to see what kind of organization map I have, but we can actually just show it right here. Lovely way that we have already formed this massive organization right here. Let's go ahead and see what kind of things we have. Total GDP is, so take away two numbers, about 33, no, that's about, or I think it's about $3 trillion. Yeah. So yeah, just about $3 trillion here. So this is 33 trillion. Take away two numbers is what we wanted to do. So that's about, yeah, $3 trillion is around what we have. So we have Panama and Guatemala and Mexico. Let's go ahead and go forward on Monday and we will see who is accepted. And all of them have been accepted into the CAIU. So Belize, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Mexico, and Panama. All of these have now become members. 160 million people have joined this organization and won 35.3 trillion cap or pesos. So very, very lovely to see how successful this organization has been. I really, really love this. Automatically, I love how like the fact that we're even getting members in this organization is just a huge success. And the whole reason that I actually even wanted to do this, there was actually a guy that commented on the last episode and basically said, hey, there should be a Central American version of the European Union. And I thought about it as soon as I read that comment and I was like, you know, that is actually not the worst idea. So I was just like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. So I was, funny story, I was actually driving to get food with my girlfriend and I'm sitting here thinking about the name of the organization. And I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, okay, it's going to be something about Central America and it's going to have like this Central American focus, even though Mexico is arguably not really a part of Central America. It's part of North America, but they do still have very significant cultural ties to Central America. So that's why Mexico is the leader here. But whenever I was driving, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, what should I name this organization? What should I do in order to do it? So I'm sitting here thinking about it. And then I'm like, okay, Central American. And then I'm like, Central American Economic Union. And as soon as I say that, I'm like, okay, that's a really good name. What is the abbreviation for it? What's going to be the quickest way to say it fluidly while I'm talking? And then I'm like, Central American Economic Union, CAEU. And I think about it like out loud and I say CAIU. She looked at me and she's like, what are you talking about? And so I had to explain it to her and I'm just like, yeah, I'm making this little episode of Mexico and everything. And so I explained it to her and man, that was like the most schizophrenic thing that I probably did. But I thought it was really nice, but I think it was a little bit of an Easter egg, you know, just a kind of like any American viewers out there. And Gabe Vogel actually had said that he watched CAIU with his brother. So I guess CAIU has a lot further international presence than I initially thought about. For number one, real quick, we're going to see what happened in the United States. And we have a couple other news stories that we want to talk about. What else happened? AIDS vaccine has been discovered. Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been deposed in Turkey, a highly charged atmosphere at the National Assembly during the session to vote whether or not to depose the head of state. Amidst the jeering, Recep Tayyip Erdogan found it hard not to defend himself from the acid remarks thrown by the members of the parliament from every party. After that, there weren't many doubts, and with the raised hand voting, the head of state was deposed. It's the beginning of the end for Erdogan, who left the National Assembly under the jibes. The country's financial state and the budgetary drain are the factors that drove Recep Tayyip Erdogan to his loss. No news as of what happened in the United States. Presidential elections are now underway in Turkey, and an assassination in Israel. Kind of want to avoid any kind of topics like this right now. But a lot of strangulation by a water hose. Who is this? The astrologer medium has been assassinated in Israel. Illegal immigrants in South Sudan is uncontrollable, and the Minister for Homeland Security has resigned. Honduras Workers' Party Political Bureau voted unanimously to trust the government. So the president of Honduras apparently is now trusted by them. Belize has been accepted into the CAIU, and as well as Costa Rica, and the elections for the APEC, APEC, but new applications have rolled in for CAIU. Dominican Republic has asked to join our organization. We will accept them, and Honduras has also applied to become a part of our organization. So we are now only one country short today from essentially completing our goals. I did not honestly expect to get this done in one episode. El Salvador is now the lone wolf not joining our organization. We can try to do some zany means in order to try to get our way. We're going to go ahead and do a secret service operation, and we are going to place 50 people here. We're going to do a approach of political groups, and we're going to start giving the Salvadorian Communist League some money, and as well we're going to do some political spying. We'll do some manipulation of social media, and I think that'll be it. So we'll put 80 people actually there. What do we have? So check for public. I'm going to go ahead and do all of this. We're going to withdraw everyone. We don't really need to worry about any of these countries for right now. We'll go ahead and call that in, and that should be good. So Salvador could actually give some money. International donations, 11 billion. 2 billion cap, 2 billion pesos. We'll go ahead and move on from there. So maybe El Salvador could join us, could, maybe not. They actually did like that funding measure that we just did, giving them some economic aid. So maybe that'll turn their tides toward us, and then we can get them a part of their organization. But other than that, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua. Nicaragua is actually the other holdout here, I believe. So yeah. So Nicaragua and El Salvador are the holdouts today, a part of the CAIU. So other than that, I'm very surprised how quickly everyone started to pour into our organization. And if you guys are curious as to how these organizations work, essentially the best way to do it, did Vincente Fox just commit suicide? Essentially the best way to do it is that you want to fund it with as much money as you possibly can, while asking for the least amount of money that you possibly can from your member states. You don't want to charge them 1% of their budget. They're not going to join your organization if you do that. If you call upon them and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and do, like, you're going to be charged like 0.25% of your GDP, then that will essentially kind of encourage them a little bit more to join your organization. All right, and the next Caillou Summit in Puebla on the 12th of April 2025. Setting the new interest rate of the organization's central banks is the agenda for the next summit. Your presence is required, of course. Shall I confirm the meeting? We'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and go closer to the first meeting of the Caillou, and we're going to go ahead and close up this episode for today. Kind of maybe a little bit of a shorter episode, but I think this was a very successful episode. So I really enjoyed this, honestly. But we're going to go ahead and skip forward, see what else happens. And I'm also probably going to do a couple of policies as well. But the main focus for today was mainly Caillou. And we are back. So Nicaragua, El Salvador has applied to become a member of the Caillou. And we have already accepted that application, so they should be being admitted very soon. But Nicaragua, just the day after El Salvador was accepted into the Caillou, has applied to become a member of the Caillou. So this is a solemn day in which all of Central America has now been admitted into the Caillou. So the entire Central American region, including Mexico, now uses the same common currency and now will be closer than ever economically. So this is, again, a massive accomplishment for the Claudia Sheinbaum government. This is just a feat that we probably did not expect in this series. Like the foreign policy implications of this decision will be felt for generations to come on how Central America became so close economically and politically, and now eventually at this point how close it will be militarily. I mean, we could at this point start to form some sort of military alliance for Central America to essentially promote common defense. So I think this is only the first step into Central American integration and a very close relationship between Mexico and its Central American partners. All right, and we are now in the month of April, so we'll go ahead and we're gonna go and look. Maybe we can see tax that we can lower or something like that. Yeah, now we're definitely going off of pesos right here, so we can see international agreements, 5.8 trillion pesos, how much that is netting us right now. We are losing 59 billion pesos through miscellaneous fiscal losses. I'm gonna send Eversum an email like tonight whenever I make this video, and I'm gonna ask them what this means and how to lower it. So you guys have been asking me a lot of those questions, so I'll go ahead and get an answer for you guys by the next episode. 314 for the gun tax. Let's go ahead and go over here. Let's see what kind of debt we have. 6.6 trillion pesos as of right now. 4.4 trillion pesos. We just got 2.4 trillion pesos in the treasury reserve, so we could pay off a little bit of debt here if we wanted to, or we could just use it on a project or two. I think I wanted to use some of it in order to build a high-speed rail train. So we're going to go over to here. We're going to go to high-speed train, and we're going to build a high-speed train between Mexico City and Puebla. So Puebla and Mexico City will now be connected through a high-speed rail line, and this will be about, could we fully fund it? Yeah, we have the money to fully fund this. 6 months, 11,000 people will be working on this, and about 582 billion pesos will be spent. I probably should have put PES instead of CAP, but Central American peso, kind of sounds a little more inclusive. 582 billion pesos. Let's go ahead and send that over. And I think also we are going to start the process of building a high-speed rail line all the way up north, and we can do this to Leon, and then Leon to Guadalajara, and then Leon would basically connect all the way up to the United States. So we're gonna do that, and that'll think will be the only thing that we call for right now. So good. Get that going, and we could actually possibly ask for another power plant to be built. a 3G nuclear power plant. We're going to go ahead and ask 1 trillion pesos, 7,000 people, 5 months. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and ask for that. So we'll do that right there. And imperfection of digital paper, go ahead and accept that. Robot prosthetics has been discovered. We're going to go ahead and leave that there. We'll go ahead and go to the summit in a minute. So Mexico Puebla regions development. So it's a good expansion and good expansion. So both of those were pretty looked upon favorably. We're going to ask Guatemala to accept the possibility of building a highway or train to their city. And then we could actually also ask that Honduras do the same thing. So we could probably do like a roadway from Tuxtla all the way over to Guatemala City, and then maybe Chetumal all the way over into Honduras, maybe something like that, kind of connect both of our countries. That could be an interesting thing, but mostly I think we want to try to start promoting some cooperation and infrastructure between us and Guatemala. Tuxtla, I think that's actually what we're going to do. So main highways, we're going to do Tuxtla, and then we're going to build a highway through this mountain range all the way over to Guatemala City. And we're going to call upon them, and we're going to say that we're going to pay for the entire thing. And then we're going to get it done in 7 months with 120 billion pesos being spent on it. So this should be accepted. And this is actually really interesting. So let's go ahead and see if they accept this. Guatemala agrees to a potential partnership, which opens the door to joint projects to construct high-speed rail trains. And then we maintain a good relationship with this country on an economic and diplomatic level. We have no difficulty convincing them. So I think this will be really good. And I will also get a train connection between us and them. So I think what we could do is we could connect Cancun down to Chetumal, and then Chetumal will connect all the way down to Guatemala City. And then the same thing from Tuxtla, Tuxtla, all the way down to Guatemala City. And then that should be good. Project has been refused, unfortunately. Standstill of discussions with our Guatemalan partners because it considers their transport network sufficiently equipped. We'll go ahead and focus on that in the next episode. 6.19% annual growth rate. So we need to increase our interest rates to make sure that growth rate is not going to hinder our inflation, which possibly could. So we need to go to Saturday, and this will be the first summit of the CAIU, the Central American Economic Union. Welcome one and all. We are meeting today to determine the interest rate value represented for the organization's banks. Madam President, we would like to have your opinion. What value do you suggest we agree upon? We're going to go ahead and max this out at 1.3%, 0.13%. This is going to take a couple of summits before we are able to do it. So we need to focus on increasing the financial transaction tax, the industrial pollution tax, and increasing the company tax as need be in order to get a cap on inflation. And if we have to cancel any contracts, we will cancel those contracts. So that will be this episode today. Very successful episode. We just opened a monetary union. We united all of Central America and Mexico under one common currency, and we are all now using that currency. This is an organization with nearly 200 million people, 9 member countries, and 39.6 billion pesos worth of value. So this is a pretty significant economic influence and effectiveness in our region. We have a 1-star rating for economic effectiveness and influence. We don't have any defensive influence, as this is not a defensive organization like NATO. But I think what we could do is that we could ask to create a NATO in Central America. Now, the question will be, should we invite the United States to it? Do you guys think I should create the Central American NATO, and should I call upon the United States to join the Central American NATO? What do you guys think about that? Or should I be the leader of this and basically kind of protect Central America as my own territory, essentially, basically have like this hegemony over it. And then in the next episode as well, I will be focusing on other economic agreements, trying to build closer relations with these countries, as well as economic relations. We want a economic hegemony over this region, and we have already done that today with a common currency. Guys, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. If you guys want to see more Mexico, tell me your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I really like how much you guys are liking this episode. I did ask you guys last episode whether I should end this, but a lot of you guys did come back and say no, you should keep the series going. I really like it. Do a little bit more, everything like that. A couple of people wanted more foreign policy. This is us doing more foreign policy. We will be expanding more relations with Africa as well, but we want to kind of start at home here in Central America, so that's where we're going to be doing. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss the next episode of Mexico. Very exciting stuff going on in this series, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.